by Carol. Now she's got about 22 PowerPoints or 22 images to show you, and she's now going to be really taking you through all the basics that we need to understand with EasySpeak. So without further ado, and I know I shouldn't say that, I'd like to hand it over, please, to Coach Carol. Welcome, Coach Carol.
Thank you so much, Moses. Wonderful to have you with me on stage, and wonderful to have our guests lining up to the boot camp of EasySpeak. Now, this came about because of requests from many EasySpeak users across the world who have been with me in one form or another in their journey into EasySpeak. As you know, EasySpeak is a vast database and a very complex and strong piece of software. And we choose it because we know that once we've mastered it, it will save us time. I can't tell you how many different VPEs that I know who would say, oh, I'd never run a club anymore without EasySpeak. It's the best thing since sliced bread. And I tend to agree with them because it does save a lot of time for everybody. So welcome to Alex, Alison, Barbara, Kate, Lloyd, Lynette, and I'm sure others will join us as we go. So I'm situated in Victoria, Australia, and I'm a self-appointed help desk for EasySpeak. And Malcolm Warden and I have conversations on a regular basis about how best to provide that service for people in various parts of the world. Now, Malcolm, if you're not sure of who that person is the developer of EasySpeak. And I think we are now into our 11th year of operation with this particular software. And before you ask the question, yes, indeed, it will be modified in order to cater for the New Pathways program in Toastmasters International. So be assured that you will still have this wonderful tool to help you with your club management. Today's boot camp will try to cover some of these things that I've listed on the agenda, but I like to keep things open so that people will have opportunity to ask questions of different types and try to get their answers from us. And so if you know the answered question that appears in the text chat, you may wish to offer that advice. We're going to break into 3 pieces, I think, for this agenda, and that is to have a look at what it is that your first-time users would need to see on your homepage, and then how do you add your users so that they can see the homepage. So some very simple stuff right at the beginning. Then we'll have a look at how you can help your members to do things, because you want them to take charge of their own learning in here. And then thirdly, we will have a look at how some of your club officers can use the charts to do things as well, especially for tracking progress and helping other people in their Toastmaster journey. So that's the broad spectrum of our agenda today. But feel free to ask any other questions. Moses is going to help me out today and look for those in the next chat. Let us begin then with what is this homepage? So rather than a hands up, could you in the text chat just tell me if you already have a customized homepage on your EasySpeak site? So a simple yes in the text chat will do there. And then you might think about, well, who does the edits on your homepage? Is it a particular club officer in your club, or is it you? All right, we've got a variety of answers. Some do, some don't. Did you know, for example, that your homepage is your landing page for anyone who comes to visit via EasySpeak? And it's really important to have that first point of contact clear and manageable by someone who may not know of the intricacies of EasySpeak. Looks like some are actually moving along to getting that page set up properly. That would be my advice. What you're looking at on my slide is an opening picture that is shown on the King Arthur's Playground. Now, some of you may not have heard of that EasySpeak site. It's actually one for learning about EasySpeak. So it's filled with fictional characters whom you are going to meet during my presentations today. So if you haven't yet set up your home page, you would normally have a person to do that for you, and that person could be your VPPR, or it could be your IT support person. And the thing that they would need to have is the permissions to change the home page, because not everyone in the club executive has the permissions to do that. And it's a little small to see, but right up here on the top left-hand corner of this page is the link that indicates that whoever is logged in at this point in the King Arthur's Playground can edit the home page. All right, let's have a little bit of a quick discussion then. What should you show on your home page? Again, put that into the text chat if you would. Think about how you are going to help the people who visit to know a little more about your club and when they meet, etc. So absolutely, Lloyd, you need to have the meeting location and times. Absolutely, Alison, the club name and meeting details, especially if it's an online club, because people need to know that. Some of the things that you have on your homepage are automatically placed there because of what you do in your control panel. And we did a whole session on control panel recently. And if you are a member of the EasySpeak community in Facebook, you'll see that there is a link to the recording of that particular event. Barbara, I like that, a teaser to entice them in to visit a meeting. Lovely. We do that in some of our online clubs. We tell them what's coming up and how exciting it would be to visit. So keep those ideas rolling in. Yes, what is a good teaser? Place that in the text chat too. Let's move on, because it seems simple enough, but is it really? So you'll need to look into that. Who needs permission? How will you change it? And what needs to go on there? That's a really good discussion topic for your next executive meeting. So if you do have your homepage set up and you'd like to share it, by all means, copy that link and place it into the text chat. There's a good teaser from Alison. Well done. You might have put images in place there too, maybe your club banner. All right, now in order for people to see your homepage or indeed to move into any part of your EasySpeak site, they need to be a user. Now, hands up. No, can't do that here. Can you tell me if you know how many different EasySpeak servers there are across the world? There's a trick question for you. I'm not sure that there's as many as 7, but I think we're closer to 3 that I know of. So we have the easyspeak.org and we have the tm.eu for the European, and we also have another, I think. The easier button. I like that, Alison. Maybe in the future we'll have 7. Who knows? So one of the things that is a little tricky, looks like we've had someone come online who's not using a headphone. So if you are that person, can you just mute your audio just by clicking on the audio microphone? That could be Amy who has arrived. And Moses, you might take a look at that and see if you can help out there. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So when you're adding a user, the easiest way that I find is to select the user list first of all. So if you are a person who has permissions to do this, you're usually on the executive, you can add users using this particular set of process. So it's quite simple to fill in. But what's the other way that people can be added to your site? What can the member or Toastmaster do for themselves? Maybe you'd like to use the microphone this time. Let me see if Alison could answer that question. Are you still there, Alison? How can you get your Toastmasters into your site? How can they for themselves? Oh, no mic today. All right, text that in. What about Lloyd? Would you like to have a go at that one? And we'll see if Lloyd can use his microphone. Oh, one of the things.
Not really, no.
Oh, I'm sorry to pick on you in that case. All right. Let me see what we're getting in the text chat. Okay, you might encourage them from a club newsletter. But going back to what I opened up with today was the home page. And on your home page, there is a way in which a new member can log in. They can go to the home page and self-register. Barbara, you win the prize today. Yes, that is exactly right. We do like it when people can do these things for themselves. So they might have seen your Facebook group, or they might have linked to your club from Toastmasters International. And if you've placed the EasySpeak URL there for them, they will land on your homepage and they can self-register. All right, let's see if there's any questions. Feel free to put them in the text chat. Oh, one of the things I needed to mention before I move away from this particular slide is that there are 3 ways that you can add a user. If they do not yet have an EasySpeak account, you would put in their full name and email. If they have been in the club before and already have an account in EasySpeak, you can select from a list of previous club members. Or if they are in another club that uses EasySpeak and you know their username, you can use that particular way to add them. All right, so let us now move on. And I think this is where I hand it over to you. Is it right, Moses?
I'm just checking the slide now. You're on slide number, which one, Carol?
Number 6.
Number 6. Okay, so I'm to introduce the 3 main menus to be covered today and how to get to them. Now that's a toughie. 3 main menus today. So the 3 main menus are Home, My Participation, and This Club. Home, My Participation, and This Club. But also to get to these particular drop-down menus, it's like there's the Home there. My Participation is there about 1, 2, 3 and from the left. And This Club is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the left. And how to get to them. Now, is that all right, Carol?
Absolutely, yes, you're right. So we're just going to focus on a couple of those today because there's so much in this site, don't you think?
Yes, there is. So those 3 areas.
So in
Home, My Participation. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Let's start with the My Participation because this is where you would get the most buy-in from your members. Once they've been added as a user, once they have an account and once they're a paid up member, for example, you do want them to follow through on their own self-directed learning. You want them to sign up for meetings. You want them to view their speech progress, perhaps their leadership progress. So let's have a look at those three to begin with. And Lynette is asking a question there in the text chat. If we have anyone who could answer that while I move on, that would be brilliant. All right. So signing up for meetings is simply done by clicking on that previous link. Let me go back a slide. So they would click on sign up for meetings, that very first one there. This is the pop-up screen that they would see. Now it's a little small, of course, and we're looking at King Arthur's Playground, and the current user is Minnie Mouse, and she's the VPE. And she can see ahead a couple of meetings, and where you see a little thumbs up, there's in 3 different places there, she can click on that green thumbs up to indicate that she'll take that role for that meeting. Now, depending on how you set up your club will determine whether an individual can self-assign. So you'll need to check your control panel for those permissions. Now, the question in the slide is, and you can answer either by voice or in the text chat, how will you help your members sign up for meetings in advance? What would you do? Do you pay them? Do you give them chocolates or fruit? Or do you provide some other incentive? And remember that the main aim, of course, is that your agenda is filled in advance before they come to a meeting. And thank you, Barbara, for providing that answer for Lynette. Lloyd, I like the idea of having the educational sessions. I think they're the most useful for a big range of people. So you could do that in a, what would we call it, an Easy Speak corner, and you could have that happening at meetings every now and then. And some people do like to have private tutorials, so you could do that on a one-to-one basis. And Moses, that is an excellent idea. Maybe that's how the mentors could be of assistance. Excellent. Well done with those answers. All right, let's move on. And if you're a bit worried that you're not keeping up with all of my slides, they will all be uploaded to my SlideShare account and you'll be able to access them again later. I agree, Barbara. Good mentors are priceless. All right, here's another thing that you can get your members to do, and that is to view their speech progress. So in this slide, you'll see that Minnie Mouse has a number of requested speeches showing in her communicator progress. And so she can remind herself of what those are and see where she's at with those. Have they been scheduled yet, or does she have to remind the VPE to do so? And requesting speeches is a great thing to get your members to do. So there's a question there that you can ponder on and answer in the text chat, or you might like to offer your advice from the microphone. So that's one thing that Minnie can do from her speech progress location. And remember, she just clicked on View My Speech Progress. So this set of requested speeches appears at the top of the list. Let's have a look at what appears directly beneath that. So what she's seeing now is the number of speeches that she has completed in a particular workbook. So it looks like Minnie has been quite busy. She's been in this club a while. and she's completed almost all of the CC manual, and interestingly, a number of projects from advanced manuals as well. There was a really interesting question in one of the Facebook groups the other day about whether or not we should allow people to move through their competent communication manual out of order. Now that doesn't make sense. How shall I express that? Do they have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or could they do 1, 3, 7, 2? So your opinions on that would be very valuable too. So let's have a look at the answers, Moses. What are people saying down there about how to encourage people to request speeches?
Well, there's Lloyd saying, I tell people to go in order on reason to deviate. I totally agree. Now, why I agree is that Toastmasters has taken the time and the trouble to actually put this CC manual together. Now, they wouldn't have just allowed, I've seen and had experience of some people who have gone out of consecutive order, and it just hasn't built them. They're sort of like, if you can imagine, like you're creating pottery and they're trying to have the finished product, but they're not doing it in the right way, and so the finished product sort of like ends all disjointed. And that's what I've found when people go out of the sequential order. That's what I've found, Carol.
Thanks, Moses. I've got this image in my mind now of a wonky piece of pottery.
That's it.
So with the advanced manuals, notice here in this particular slide that Minnie has been working on several advanced manuals and also in other leadership series, and that comes with her experience, I believe, and would be the same for many of us. As we've been involved with Toastmasters for a while, we do tend to pick and choose, and so I think it's perfectly logical for that to happen. So the third thing that Minnie can see when she looks at her speech progress is deeper into the particular advanced manual that she's working on right now, and she can see what she has completed and what is yet to be done. This is a very useful tool that will help the member to determine what is their next speak going to be about. And they can do that in either of their clubs if they are a member of multiple clubs. Okay, so that was one thing. Remember, we're asking things for the membership to do. Now I'd like to get some opinions on some other ways in which you can strategically influence your members to participate in EasySpeak. So Lloyd mentioned having some workshops within the meetings, and you could do EasySpeak demos during the break. There was a very interesting post in one of the Facebook groups recently about the use of games in meetings, and this young person who is from the Hong Kong Toastmasters Club actually had all the members bring in their mobile phones and mobile devices, and she gave them some instructions, and it was a bit of a game on how quickly they could access those tools and fulfill some of those things that we've just been speaking about. I can hear someone busy on their keyboard. Is that you, Moses? You have a very strong microphone there.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. Thank you for that information. Would you like to speak about that?
Yes, well, I've been going to a club here in Hamilton. It's called Dinsdale. I've just received an email from Wendy Whitcliffe. She's the VPE at the Dinsdale Club, and she's invited me to, at the next club meeting, she's running EasySpeak as a theme for her next meeting. And I thought that's ideal. That just answers some of the opportunities that you're offering here online to do with this particular boot camp. So if a VPE here in New Zealand is using it as a theme, perhaps that could be the best way to actually utilize the games or the demos or the workshops by having a theme from the different Toastmasters. And perhaps the theme could be perhaps once a month or once every 2 months or whatever it is. So people are just not bombarded with it, but they're slowly taking it aboard, because it is really an IT resource. Trouble is to get our heads around it, because there's so much to learn, especially to navigate it. That's the thing that I've been having problems with, navigation. That's my
Thank you, Moses. 2 cents is allowed in here. Ums are not. we are being evaluated as we speak. I like that.
Great.
Making it fun to use is definitely the way to go. We do have some people, though, who are not computer literate. How do we cater for them? Perhaps you would like to offer some of those thoughts into the text chat again as we move forward now. So remember, our main objective is to get everybody to use EasySpeak. So where there is difficulty in actually doing that online, then we need to put in some other support processes for them. Now I can see that we have online Alex. Do you have any particular ways in which you persuade your members to use EasySpeak? Alex Grant? Not sure we can hear you yet, Alex. You might need to switch on your mic. No, we're not getting your voice. That's... Oh, we do have some minor interferences down there at Alex's place with the cat on the keys. Thank you, Barbara, for your comments in the text chat that you believe that it's much easier to use than FreeToast Host for this computer illiterate user. And Barbara, I know, is one who needs to go to a local library, perhaps, to use a computer down there. And Lynette's offering a very simple and straightforward way of helping, and that is to ask someone to scribe for them or to be a computer buddy. Thank you for those pieces of advice. Let's move on. Now, Moses, let us have a little... Oh, I used an count that one for me, Barbara. Can we have a brief discussion here about how important do you think it is for the members to complete their leadership details? And we'll start with the CL.
With the CL. I find that with the CL, by actually doing the role, Carol, I find that I grow in confidence. When I first begin, I'm very tentative in doing a role. I mean, when I first go along to a club, even doing the timekeeper's role, very, very tentative. But I find that as I grow and knowing the person sitting beside me who actually guides me in what to do, I then grow in confidence. So what happens is that the confidence that is generated within me, is I transfer it to someone else when I'm helping them or mentoring them in their role. So that's how I specifically grow in leadership. And that's why I enjoy the leadership roles. They just raise us in confidence. If I can use the analogy of a musician, I used to play the tuba. My first concert, I was so nervous, but someone came alongside me and says, come on, that's fine, that's fine. And so they reassured me. So as I played and gained more experience, I found that by the experience that I gained, I grew in confidence minute bit by minute bit. So that as we are years in the club as a member, we become confident, not arrogant, but become confident to help others perhaps perform their role or to actually enjoy what their role is. So that's how these...
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Moses. What can also do to help that whole process going, it's like mentoring that you're describing there, where you are helping others. The red light just came on for Moses. I like that. We can, using the EasySpeak tools, encourage our members to check whether or not all of those projects have been completed Did you know that you can link into the CL projects from your Check the Leadership Progress chart? If not, have another look when you go back to your EasySpeak site. This particular slide shows that Minnie herself has completed the CL, and it lists all of those projects and the dates on which they were completed. And how useful is that when she wants to send that to someone else on the committee to request the award for the CL from Toastmasters International? The record is automatically there. They don't need to have a copy of the CL manual. Remember that EasySpeak records everything that you do that has been assigned to individuals and will be part of the full database of information. Let's move on. Moses and I were talking about the CL manual. Even more information can be had through your advanced leadership projects. In this particular case, Minnie has been working on her Leadership Excellence series, and as you know, they are quite full and involved presentations and will take quite a bit of time. She has currently completed 4 of those and can then select from the others which ones that she wants to do next. And I'm looking at Lloyd's comment there, Moses, and I think that is so true. If only we could persuade all of our members to please bring their CL manuals to the meetings, I would be delighted. Having EasySpeak, though, it means that you can look behind the scenes and see for yourself, especially if you are one of the execs who uses the EasySpeak site. Is there anything else that anyone would like to add about the way in which we can check on our leadership projects? Feel free to use the microphone. What about you, Kate? Is there something that you'd like to add to our discussion about the advanced leadership projects? It looks like Kate's chosen to type in. Okay. And Lynette says that she agrees with Lloyd. I do have to apologise too. See this funny little thing here next to leadership? We were having a bit of a joke earlier. My laptop keyboard is become a little sticky and the L key has died, and I had to come up with something that would stand in as an L. So I'm asking for your forgiveness, some of the missing L's in the following slides. Here is another thing that you could persuade your members to do for themselves. Not only think about what goals they have in their mind for Toastmaster Journey, but how could they add their goals into the EasySpeak site? Again, in the text chat, tell me if you already have your goals in place for yourself. What about you, Moses? Have you used EasySpeak to set the goals for yourself?
Carol,
No, he says.
I haven't. And the club that I go along to, they don't use it. So that's why I haven't. So it's only because I've enjoyed online clubs that I'm starting to learn how to use EasySpeak.
Wonderful. Well, let me say that because you have an EasySpeak account, you could record your leadership goals and your speaking goals for yourself, regardless of the clubs that you wish to do them for.
But is it not the VP Ed's task to sort of qualify that I have passed that, or is it just left to me?
Oh no, the qualification, the accreditation, I should say, would certainly be up to having that goal reached and verified. What I mean is that in EasySpeak, you can use the little goal setting tool to articulate for yourself where you are heading. So do have a close look at that. Yeah. So when you go in to check your leadership progress, on the right-hand side, you'll see this little, I'll just point to it here. It's a tiny little icon called plus new goal. So you can set any types of goal that you like for yourself.
Okay.
So that's a little task for you next time you're in Easy Speak, Moses.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, let's move on. All right, here is another way in which you can use Easy Speak, especially if you are the one who is assigning roles for your members. Let's find out who in the audience today is in a VPE position or is in charge of assigning roles for the agendas. Can you just tell me if you are? And perhaps tell us what club you do that for. And I'm looking back over some of the text chat there, and Alex is telling us that he's used goals offline this year, but have used the Easy Speak one in the past year. And Kate is the VPE at the Noosa Club. So Kate, you might like to also think about this question as I talk about the preparation for assigning roles. For a start, have you used the roles by member chart prior to assigning new ones for your upcoming agendas? I certainly do for the clubs that I'm a member of and for whom I am a VPE. One of the things that I find, dare I say it, that some of our members are a little bit lazy and need prodding and need coercion and will not always know what roles they've done over the past couple of meetings. They're busy people, they have other things on their mind. So I need a very simple tool that helps me to help them. And the roles by member is the one that I use. Kate, you're about to get your site up and running. All right, you've now made that public. We will all hold you to it and we'll look forward to seeing it in the future. Does anyone else know about the roles by member chart? Have you used it before? It's a bit hard to read from my slides, of course, but you'll see that we've got quite a few things that have been done in the past by some of our fictitious characters who are members of the club. And I can see for a start that one of our newest members, Dumbo, the elephant, he's not done anything yet. Now he may be quite new, so the VPE can then contact him and say, would you like this role to start you off? Then the VPE might be looking at some of those who've been in the club a little bit longer, people like King Arthur himself, or perhaps Harry Potter, who seem to have been quite frequent meeting role takers and would probably need to ensure that covering other things that they need to do if they're working on their CL manuals. So it just gives you another little prompt, something to talk about with them before you assign new roles. Any comments on that one from you, Moses, or anyone really?
I've just learnt that it's there.
Excellent. All right, let's see how many of our audience are in the same boat. Did you know that the roles by member chart was there?
No.
And Lynette is saying the same. All right, that's another task for everybody. Have a look. When you go to this club and you click on charts, do have a look at the roles by member. Let's move on. Because there's more. We have steak knives to go with all of these. Here is another that you might like to look at called the participation chart. Now I've made this very, very small. That is too hard to read, Carol. Expand that slide next time, please. The participation chart actually picks up all of the things that have been done by your members over a period of time, and you can choose that period of time as you search for the details. It will show you their attendance with a yellow tick, their attendance, or if they have attended, with a green tick, and if they've been a speaker, it will show a single little shadow icon of certain colours, and evaluators, and have taken other roles. So at a glance, we might be able to see how frequently our members have participated in the various meetings. And this is another little prompt for those who might be wanting to have a conversation with the members. The membership person might look at that and think, they haven't been here for a while, I must find out if everything's okay. Or the VPE might be looking for new role takers, and they would be looking for someone who hasn't really stepped up for those roles in the past. So there's a lot of things that this little chart can provide for you at a glance. Saves a lot of phone calls. Absolutely, I like your comment there about your DCP, because reaching the DCP will depend on how many of your members have completed CC Advanced manuals. You, as the VPE or president for that matter, can look into those charts and find out at a glance who's ready for that. And this becomes part of your success plan. You would then be saying at your executive meetings, I noticed that Donald Duck is approaching his Advanced Communicator Gold. We need to encourage him to finish that. Or you might be looking at several of the members who are almost at the CC mark, and you might want to make sure that your agendas are giving them the opportunities to speak towards that. So the VPE would need to be alerted to that. Any other comments about how you prepare for the way in which you are mentoring your members? I know that mentoring for you is a big call, Moses. Is there anything else that you do in your land-based clubs in this respect?
Actually, it's quite interesting. I actually have people approaching me to mentor them. So what I do is I like to give them a little test. You know, sometimes it's not that I don't want to, it's just that I like to see what sort of commitment they want to actually give to me if I was going to mentor them. And so I invite them around, and I'd like to know all about them so that I can sort of not gauge to see where they're going, but just to see what type of person they are. It's not a judgment call, but it's just getting to know the person. And once I get to know the person, it's not that I tick the boxes off, it's that I now know what they want to do. I now know when I have a cup of coffee with them, Mo, how did I go? And so I'm now able to actually give them some good evaluation, and they're not shy of any little points or pointers that I give them. That's what I've been enjoying doing.
Excellent. Well, now, when you go to meet with your prospective mentees, you could take along some printouts from the EasySpeak participation chart, their roles by meeting, their goals, their speech progress, etc. Then you would have some data that you could add to that conversation with them. And Kate's offering another little tip there too. I think that's a really useful thing to do, is that you can email your mentees about the roles that they might have taken at a meeting. And that gives them that feedback.
I've got a question for you, Carol. When you sort of have been assigned as a mentor to someone, I've taken it upon myself, if they're doing their first speech, their first icebreaker speech, I record it for them. And then I stick it on Google Drive so they can actually see what they've done in their first speech. So by the time they've come to their 10th speech, they can see how much they've grown when it comes to presenting speeches. What do other members do when they're sort of mentoring the speakers for their first icebreaker speech? Do they do the same type of thing?
It's an interesting question, Moses. I've not used that particular method of videoing their icebreaker speech, but I could in the future now that I've heard what you do. I have done, though, in the past, is I have ensured that new member that if they would like to share the draft of their icebreaker speech, the actual written speech, if that's their process, with me prior to the meeting, I would make comments on it for them. I have also used other methods where some members who are not in the habit of writing out a speech, who would much rather visualize it, I do a little visualization exercise with them so that they mind map their speech and make that task of presenting it a bit easier for them. This is especially useful for people who are not as literate as others. And yes. I've found that that has empowered them to move forward. But I also make use of any of the tools in EasySpeak if they have been in the club for a while. Because I can say to that new member who might have been with the club for over a year and is still very tentative in taking their first steps towards an icebreaker, I would look back over their history and I'd say to them, all right, now I've seen what you've been able to do. You have covered all of these particular meeting roles, and I would ask them the question of how it now feels when they get up to stand in front of their group. So I'm using EasySpeak to help me with the range of tools for that. Excellent discussion here. Shall we move on?
I had one. Yep, sure.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. So I'm just preparing ammunition. So when you ask me to speak, that's when I'll bring it in. So I don't. You are doing the boot camp. I want all of us to understand this boot camp. You're enthralling me. You're injecting all the stuff into me, Carol. Please keep on going.
Oh, okay. All right. I hope that it is not painful. I'm not sure how you feel about injections. All right, let us move a little further into this whole thing about strategies for mentoring and for assigning roles in meetings. Let's find out from the audience, shall we? First of all, how do you manage mentoring in your club? You might like to answer that in text. And how might you use EasySpeak now to help that along? And this is the point, I think, where I'll see if there's someone else who might like to use their audio today. Who haven't I asked? What about Amy? Are you able to use your microphone today, Amy? Haven't heard from you in the text chat either. I'm hoping that you are following everything here. Let's have a look at some of the answers anyway. All right, mentoring from Lloyd. First, find out who is interested in being mentors and then introduce them to the new members. I think that's a valuable exercise to do. Kate suggesting that the executive appoints someone and gives it to the mentee in writing and leave it to the two of them. All right, Amy, do you now have your headphones on again? Barbara is offering us another perspective too, that in an advanced club, many don't require mentors. And Moses is asking, do we provide a mentoring sheet?
Now, the reason I say that, Carol, is that, again, the Dinsdale Club, when the new members are inducted, they are introduced to their mentors, and both the mentor and the mentee are issued with a sheet so that they both see the expectations, so that the club is really committed to actually building the new members that come into the club.
Brilliant. I think that is so important. Amy, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, y'all hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Our club is just now starting the mentoring program, so I can't really tell you what all we're doing other than I am putting experienced Toastmasters with brand new ones and then staying on top of the experienced ones to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So I don't really have much to add to your little discussion.
Well, thank you anyway, Amy. It's lovely to hear your voice. And I'm also checking in the text chat some of the other really interesting and useful pieces of advice. Thank you so much for adding all of that. I have the opportunity to save the whole text chat, and I will provide that for you if you'd like. Next question is, how do you assign your meeting roles? If you are the VPE, do you actually assign them using EasySpeak? So once again, you can add into the text chat. And Amy, if you're still online and would like to answer in voice, please do.
Carol, we're just now getting started with EasySpeak. Our poor little club is a bit behind. That is why I'm on this to learn more about EasySpeak. We are literally just in our second week of trying to use this. It is a volunteer thing, and everybody's trying to learn how to use EasySpeak so they can get on and assign themselves roles.
Well, I think you've come to the right place. Thank you. I'll get you to turn off your mic now, Amy. Lovely to hear from you. And it seems like it's similar for Kate, that it's just the beginning stages. And Barbara is talking about a hybrid method for volunteers, for speakers and TM, and then assigning the rest. I think that's a useful strategy, don't you, Moses?
I've found that, well, what strategy is that, Carol?
The one that Barbara's mentioning, she calls it a hybrid method, where the volunteers are asked for speakers and Toastmaster of the day, but the rest of the meeting roles are filled or assigned by the VPE.
Yes, that currently happens at one of the clubs that I attend, and it's very hard because some of the speakers, they won't speak. I mean, they attend, but they won't speak. But I find that when you assign people, I like to actually customize or adjust to the experience of the speaker. I'll give an example. There was one guy who was the opener. So when he opened the meeting, he thought he was the grammarian. So sometimes the people don't understand what their roles are. And I know I haven't answered the question, but I like to assign it to those people who have the confidence in the different roles that have to be undertaken by the different Toastmaster members. That's how I do it.
Yeah, I agree with the process, but I like to use the EasySpeak system to help those new people with their roles. When they are assigned a role, they will get an email that gives them a link to the particular knowledge map article.
Now herein lies the problem, Carol. The club which is in town does not use EasySpeak. So it's like, okay, who's speaking? So they use someone who's using Excel. So all the roles are now on Excel. And so we are to look at Excel, find out what we're doing, where we're going. And there are many, many times where people don't turn up for their role. So it's like when the meeting starts, you have to sort of like, as Toastmaster, actually delegate who's ever there to actually do roles, and some of our members are performing, say, 5, 6 roles because of the numbers that haven't been turning up.
It
No,
can
that's
be
right.
very difficult. What I've turned to next is the little mentoring chart that you may find of use in the process of A, matching your mentors, and B, managing the mentoring process. It is only the technical part of it, I know. It says nothing about the way in which you do your mentoring, but it gives you a start. So once again, from this club, go to your charts and choose the mentoring chart. I have chosen in this case to sort the list by seniority in the club. So I've sorted it on their joining date, where you are most likely to find those who are already playing the role of a mentor or who are being mentored. And in this particular case, I can see some people who are not in either situation and can then approach them individually about whether or not they would like to be mentored or whether they need to be a mentor. So once again, using the charts to advantage helps in that role or in that process.
So a question
Here's
here.
another little chart. Yes. Go ahead.
How is the seniority sorted? I noticed on that last
In that particular slide, yes, let me go back.
Yes.
It gives me the option to sort according to their joining date.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Okay. All right, so I'm now moving ahead to look at yet another little chart called the Visitors Introduced. And in particular, the VP membership may use this to find out who amongst their members have been actively bringing along visitors in one way or another. So you can see from this little screen image that Mary Poppins, Minnie Mouse, and the club website itself have been responsible for some of their members or some of their visitors. Now, of course, this is a practice site, so it's not really going to show us reality. It's simply whatever has been put in place by the learners of that site. But it shows once again that there is a chart there that will help with you in helping your members. I'm still getting interference, so I might just need to switch off Alex's voice there. Sorry about that, Alex. And I'll move forward again. We're coming to the top of the hour now, and I'll skip over this slide reasonably quickly. We won't have time to discuss it today, but it's something to give some thought to in your next process for maximizing the use of EasySpeak. Again, you might have that one-to-one assistance. You might invest a little more time and have a club help desk. You might even persuade the next area training to include an EasySpeak workshop. Or you could have club officer training specifically for that. And of course, share your resources. There is a wealth of resources to be had from our Facebook group for EasySpeak users. And you may, of course, harvest any of the resources that I have in my course called EasySpeak Made Easy. So I'll move now to our final slide to let you know that the next webinar in the series for Bootcamp will be on Thursday. Didn't put the date there. That was silly. I've left out the number 8. Thursday the 8th of September. And this time it will be at 6 p.m. GMT plus 10 time. So it'll be 6 p.m. for me, 8 p.m. for Moses. And what I do when I put these invitations into the Facebook group events, you'll see how to convert that to your own time. Oh, it could well be hidden by the graphic. You're quite right, Kate. I need to do some massage before I upload these slides. So thank you everyone for joining us today. It has been brilliant to have the discussion going. Thank you, Moses, for your first time as co-presenter on the Easy Speak Bootcamps. If anyone else would like to do the same, please let me know. You can email me or catch me on Facebook. Would you
Carol.
like to say farewell, Moses? And then I will close the recording.
Excellent. Carol, this has been very good. I've enjoyed the 21 PowerPoints that you've presented us. I now I know about an inch more than what I did last time, but it's sort of got me going that this is a very good tool to really assist a club in its productivity, if I can put that word in there, so that they understand the DCP, they understand how to mentor, everything that you've showed today, especially the mentorship and where to look for different charts. It's made my day. So I've grown like a little weed now to a nice big strong tree, if I can use that analogy. So thank you very much, Carol, for devoting your time for this. And thank you to all those from around the world. From here in Hamilton, I've really enjoyed meeting you all. I've enjoyed all your little comments. And thank you very much for your time, Carol. Again, thank you. I wish I had a rose for you, but thank you, Carol.
Thank you so much, Rut. And thank you, everybody. I'll now close the recording.